The day began unremarkably, colors and routines blending seamlessly into my neatly ordered life. As a professor, I found comfort in the predictability of academia, where everything could be substantiated, verified, confidently placed within the confines of knowledge. Yet, deeper than I cared to admit, was an ache for something beyond the evidence, a pull towards questions too immense for textbooks to answer. My wife, ever the dreamer, would often say I should learn from Max and Whiskers how they lived each day as if tethered to some invisible, joyful truth that eluded us. By late morning, the sky had morphed from placid blue to a somber, threatening gray. I scarcely noticed, my mind entangled in lecture notes and essay drafts, until the first heavy droplet smacked against the window, a prelude to the chaos brewing outside. I shrugged it off as a typical Florida downpour, its unpredictability as common as it was dismissible. The rumble of thunder in the distance served as mere background noise to my meticulously organized thoughts. It wasn't until the drive home that the true fury of the storm unfurled like a malevolent tapestry around me. Sheets of rain pummeled the windshield, obscuring the world beyond in a blur of movement and sound. The rhythm of the wiper blades struggled to match the intensity, and my heartbeat mirrored their frantic pace. The sudden awareness of danger was like a jagged stone in my gut, gnawing, persistent, impossible to ignore. "Stay calm," I murmured, clutching the steering wheel as if it were an anchor in a maelstrom. Just a little farther. But the universe seemed to have other plans, and as the seconds ticked by, a sense of foreboding settled over me, heavy and unyielding. Then it happened, a flash of lightning, deafening crack. The slick pavement gave way under my tires, and the car spiraled into a dance macabre. My world contracted to the suffocating confines of the vehicle, the cacophony of shattering glass blending with my own desperate cry. In fractured moments, I glimpsed memories, fragments of laughter with my wife, evenings warmed by the gentle presence of Max at my feet, Whiskers prowling like a shadow with Whiskers trembling in play. In that surreal pause between heartbeats, I was suddenly aware of how small and fragile my life had been, as if contained within a snow globe now spinning violently in some greater hand. And then silence. A silence so profound it felt as if the world itself had inhaled and forgotten to exhale. I hovered there, somewhere between life and the unknown, where time dissolved in space redefined itself around me. It was then suspended in the balance that a realization dawned, a truth both simple and overwhelming, whispering through the void. I was not merely flesh and fear. There had to be more. But I had fixated too long on the tangible, the measurable, all the while missing the mystery woven through the fabric of my very existence. In that silence, as the physical world withdrew, leaving behind the essence of my soul laid bare, I sensed a presence, a gentle beckoning, tender and all-encompassing, pulling me towards the brink of revelation. And just beyond the threshold, as the storm raged on below, a new kind of journey unfolded, one that promised to answer questions unvoiced, hidden in the sunlit heart of the other side. As the physical world dissolved into an all-consuming silence, I found myself drifting, a consciousness untethered, floating above the din of chaos that had been my final earthly moment. Suspended in this abyss between life and death, I was no longer bound by the limits of my frail, sprawled form. The wreckage of the car was below, a twisted monument to the frantic storm that had claimed me. It was strange to observe this scene with such detachment, as though watching a distant play unfold. I was adrift in a space stripped bare of time, a vacuum where I hovered without fear. An odd tranquility enveloped me, banishing the earlier terror, a gentle embrace that urged me to just be. My senses shifted, becoming sharper, more attuned to the subtler currents of this new realm. I could feel the pulse of the universe itself, thudding softly against the confines of my consciousness, inviting me to explore its depths. From within this emptiness came a luminescent glow, warm and inviting, casting the darkness aside as gently as a mother tucks a child into bed. It was a light unlike anything I had ever seen or imagined, alive, sentient, pulsing with a love so profound, it rocked me to the core of my being. Every inch of my soul drank it in, heedless of the boundaries I had so carefully built within my mind. Is this the end? I wondered, feeling the words resound not in my mind but somewhere deeper, where reason gave way to faith. In response, the light seemed to chuckle, a soft, melodious sound that vibrated through the space, filling me with an inexhaustible joy. The immensity of this presence, this essence of pure love, embraced me fully. I understood without question that I was safe, cherished beyond mortal comprehension, cradled in a love that transcended words and thoughts. It was here that I encountered him. Jesus appeared within the light, his presence seamless with it, whispering serenity into my spirit. His eyes met mine, a cascade of compassion and understanding that spoke directly to the core of my longing. There was no judgment, only acceptance and understanding. I felt laid bare before him, not in shame, but in relief, unburdened by pretenses and fear. Everything you need to know is within you, he communicated, the meaning unfolding within my heart like the petals of a flower blooming in fast forward. In his gaze, a life review unfurled, not the stark, replayed events of my existence, but a tapestry of missed moments of love. In flashes more vivid than memories, I saw every laugh I shared with my wife, the faithful companionship of Max and Whiskers, those simple, profound interconnections I had neglected in my quest for certainty. The truth struck me with an undeniable clarity. Life was about love, connections, the seemingly mundane moments that were actually miracles. In acknowledging this, the veil lifted between what I knew and what I needed to learn. My heart understood what my mind had always denied, the beautiful chaos of emotions, the sanctity of simple joys, all leading towards a singular revelation that I was part of something infinitely greater. A gentle tug resonated with his words, reverberating through my being, drawing me back. I felt an ache at the prospect of leaving this place of belonging, this newfound conviction and peace. Yet I was meant to return, to carry these truths with me into the corporeal, to let them blaze a trail through ignorance and doubt. I inhaled deeply, the sensation not of lungs expanding, but of spirit filling with a mission, that love and truth are not just goals, but the entirety of the journey itself. And as I began my reluctant journey back, the light whispering promises of eternal connection, I knew my life had been irrevocably transformed. I awoke to the antiseptic scent of a hospital room, heart pounding with the echoes of heaven's song, eyes open to a reality reborn in the light of a divine encounter. Amidst the ethereal silence, where time felt like the distant echo of an abandoned whisper, I found myself drifting toward the luminescent horizon. The glow was pulling me, my soul sailing effortlessly to a realm where sorrow was replaced with a boundless love, a warmth that cradled every fragment of my essence. The transition felt seamless, like stepping from a shadowed alley into a garden bathed in dawn's first light. With each heartbeat, the veil of the universe thinned, revealing landscapes woven from light and melody, where colors sang in delicate harmonies and the air shimmered in hues of the purest love. It was as if the very fabric of creation had become a living, breathing entity, inviting me into its depths. My senses heightened beyond anything I had ever imagined, each particle in the air holding stories of eternity, resonating with unspoken truths. The vivid expanse around me was suddenly animated by familiar figures, surging forward with unrestrained joy. A golden retriever and a tabby cat whose forms glowed with an inner luminescence, more magnificent than I had ever known them to be. Max bounded over, his tail wagging like a jubilant flag, eyes shimmering with profound wisdom. Whiskers twined between my legs, her purrs vibrating through the very ground upon which we stood. At that moment, all precepts of time and place dissolved. In their presence, I understood that love transcended the bounds of earth and life. It was eternal, written into the fabric of the universe. They were my companions through the veil, their spirits now free of earthly constraints, an embodiment of loyalty and patience I'd taken for granted. Their love poured into me, a river of understanding that washed away years of self-doubt. I was whole, complete. It was then that the landscape itself seemed to open like a flower, revealing a light of such intensity that, rather than blinding me, coaxed me into deeper clarity. Jesus stood within this brilliance, his presence the essence of the light itself, merging seamlessly with it, every thought and emotion fathomed in an all-encompassing embrace. The sight of him stirred something ancient within me. There was no need for words. His gaze spoke of cosmic love, patience, and acceptance. His presence surged through me like a gentle, inevitable tide, smashing through the walls that encased my heart, walls I never realized were there. All my fears, my paltry worries and doubts, lay bare and insignificant before him. Images suddenly unfolded from the light, a reel of my life not in stark critique, but as a masterful tapestry of moments suspended in love. I did not see errors or regrets, but instances of impact where love whispered between ordinary interactions. Every shared laughter with my wife echoed, weaving through my soundtrack of existence. I witnessed Max and Whiskers as beacons of love, constant and forgiving, a veritable scripture in fur and paws. Recognition flared within. Life was made of these tender stitches where I had sought grand purpose. It was the simplest gestures that mattered. This realm taught me that love was not a destination, but the path. Every hug, every comforting presence of my pets, each slice of laughter sustained a universe that now welcomed me with open arms. As these revelations sunk in, a gentle pull began to anchor me, a thread connecting this realm and the physical world I had unwittingly left behind. His voice, though unspoken, seeped through the walls of my heart. Carry this love back with you. Let it transform you, unfold within you. Resisting the tug was futile, though every fiber of my being yearned to remain in this cradle of serenity. Yet there was a path laid before me, one I was destined to walk again, armed with newfound truths vibrant and alive in their simplicity. As the landscape of light slowly folded inward, I took one last look at my cherished companions. Their love, a constant chorus, assured me of our unbreakable bond, one that transcended even the boundaries of life and death. I inhaled deeply. The universe itself seemed to fill me with breath, imprinting upon me the essence of this place. With a reluctant farewell, I allowed the current to ferry me back, determined to bear this light in a world that had become a little brighter, a little more vivid, because of the love I'd found in the kingdom of kindred spirits. I awoke in sterile reality, infused with the echoes of eternal joy and gnosis, eyes wide with a revelation that had altered the very core of my being, a sacred knowledge that life, intertwined with genuine love and connection, was resurrection itself. Amidst the ethereal silence, where time felt like the distant echo of an abandoned whisper, I found myself drifting toward the luminescent horizon. The glow was pulling me, my soul sailing effortlessly to a realm where sorrow was replaced with boundless love, a warmth cradling every fragment of my essence. The transition felt seamless, like stepping from a shadowed alley into a garden bathed in dawn's first light. With each heartbeat, the veil of the universe thinned, revealing landscapes woven from light and melody, where colors sang in delicate harmonies and the air shimmered in hues of the purest love. It was as if the very fabric of creation had become a living, breathing entity, inviting me into its depths. My senses heightened beyond anything I had ever imagined, each particle in the air holding stories of eternity, resonating with unspoken truths. As I gazed upon this cosmic tapestry, my soul was alight with revelations long obscured by the mundane shadows of daily life. Here, in this realm of limitless light, I could perceive the threads that connected all living things, weaving our stories into a single, magnificent fabric that glistened with divine intention. The vibrant expanse around me was suddenly animated by familiar figures, surging forward with unrestrained joy. A golden retriever and a tabby cat whose forms glowed with an inner luminescence, more magnificent than I had ever known them to be. Max bounded over, his tail wagging like a jubilant flag, eyes shimmering with profound wisdom. Whiskers twined between my legs, her purrs vibrating through the very ground upon which we stood. At that moment, all precepts of time and place dissolved. In their presence, I understood that love transcended the bounds of earth and life. It was eternal, written into the fabric of the universe. They were my companions through the veil, their spirits now free of earthly constraints, an embodiment of loyalty and patience I'd taken for granted. Their love poured into me, a river of understanding that washed away years of self-doubt. I was whole, complete. From behind the veil of luminescence, a profound presence emerged, a figure of light and love that dwarfed the fear lingering at the edges of my consciousness. It was Jesus, his visage a cascade of warmth that transcended earthly beauty. His eyes, pools of infinite kindness, met mine, and a sense of peace unlike anything I had ever felt enveloped me. Welcome, his voice echoed within my soul, carrying with it a profound certainty, a resonance more real than spoken words. Instantly, every defense, every layer of skepticism I had meticulously built crumbled like sandcastles before a rising tide. I stood bare and vulnerable before his gaze, yet I felt no judgment, only an all-encompassing love, as if every part of me, even the shadows I feared to acknowledge, was accepted and cherished. My life lay open, each smile, every tear and whispered prayer unfurling like petals of a flower under his gaze. I saw moments of kindness I dismissed, blooming with renewed significance, and wounds I had endured, transforming into wisdom I'd yet to understand. This reckoning of love, this profound acceptance, was a balm to my weary spirit. Tears I hadn't realized were falling mingled with a newfound joy, a cleansing of my soul, a realization that every overlooked action, every loving gesture, was a brushstroke on the masterpiece that was my life's canvas. Love, I discovered, was not measured in grand gestures, but in countless moments of compassion and understanding shared across time. But as the light around us danced in joyous symphony, A gentle, persistent tug at the edges of my consciousness began to draw me back. I was still bound, it seemed, to a world that now felt shadowy and distant. A world I had to return to. But how can I leave? I cried within, torn between this divine union and the call of my earthly pilgrimage. Jesus' response, though telepathic, was powerfully clear. Bring what you've learned back. Let it unfold within you and in others. Transform your world with this love. With a reluctant heart, I felt myself succumbing to the pull, though every fiber of my being yearned to remain in this cradle of serenity. My gaze lingered on Max and Whiskers, their silhouettes shimmering with assurance and eternal kinship. They mirrored my sentiment, their eyes reflecting a promise of reunion. The scene around me, vibrant and alive, began to fade, like a painter's gentle wash over an iridescent dream. And with a deep breath drawn from the very essence of this celestial love, I surrendered. My essence felt imprinted with a luminous peace, and I was propelled back across the threshold, the realm of light receding into the whispers of infinity. I awoke in a hospital bed, reality's cold and sterile embrace contrasting sharply with the ineffable warmth I had just known. My eyes, now open, were wide with a revelation, a sacred knowledge embedded in my soul. Life, intertwined not with grandiose intentions, but with the simplicity of genuine love and connection, was resurrection itself.